This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military to Manufacturing event. Today, we are featuring a few special guests from PMMI, which is the Association for Packaging and Processing Technologies, as well as three of their member companies, Domino, Morris Packaging, and Rockwell Automation. My name is Katie Bowerman, and I'm a senior manager for the Heroes Make America Skill Bridge Training Program, as well as moderate our virtual events just like this. Whether you're a seasoned Heroes Connect attendee or joining us for the first time, we're thrilled to have you join us for the next hour. We started these events to aid in facilitating a direct connection between our military community and the manufacturing and supply chain industry. Manufacturing is a diverse industry, and events like this help us understand the different segments and identify the various positions that make up the teams responsible for getting things done. From production operations, quality assurance, maintenance, logistics, and business functions, these companies have it all. Before we jump into today's event, let's review some quick housekeeping items. First, the event is being recorded. Y'all got that announcement shortly, a little bit ago, right? And will be sent out as part of a recap email. So because it's recorded, please be sure you stay muted throughout the presentation to minimize any background noise. However, lastly, even though your mics are muted, please use the chat feature during the presentation to drop in any questions that you have, and we will go ahead and answer those questions at the end of the presentation during the Q&A portion. But really, these events like this really are your opportunity to join the discussion and ask questions of these industry leaders who you may not normally have access to. So let's go ahead and practice utilizing that chat feature. Open up the chat and drop in the location where you're going to be seeking employment. Also, if you happen to know the type of position or functional area you're looking at, drop that in too. While you guys are doing that, I want to take this opportunity to briefly highlight the Manufacturing Institute's Heroes Make America Military Skill Bridge program. We do have a lot of our current students on this call, but we also have other military affiliated participants, company reps, and community partners from across the country joining us today. For those of you who may not know or be familiar with Heroes Make America, we are a DoD approved skill bridge program that is open to transitioning service members, veterans, reservists, National Guardsmen, and military spouses. We provide a variety of certification trainings, equipping you with rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industry. Our students learn tons of stuff like safety, quality practice, technical trainings like electrical, mechanical, pneumatic training, and then we also have logistics and warehouse distribution training. You can see here our program managers and the trainings that we offer, as well as upcoming class dates. We're going to go ahead and drop in our contact information to the chat, so you'll be able to connect with any of us if you do have questions. Heroes is a dynamic program, so in addition to our Skill Bridge offerings, we also host a variety of other virtual events to include these weekly Heroes Connect events. We have a veteran learning series, and we also do in-person and virtual career fairs. So we'll drop in our upcoming events and registration links in the chat for you to check out. All right, without further ado, I'm so excited for you all to learn more about our featured guests. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Stefan Gerard, who's the Senior Director for Workforce Development for PMMI. So, Stefan, floor is all yours.
Thank you, Katie. As Katie mentioned, I'm Stefan Gerard, Senior Director of Workforce Development for PMMI, and we are the association that represents the packaging industry in North America. Joining me today is Kate Fiorianti. She is Director of Workforce Development for PMMI, and she will be answering or check-in chat questions as we go through. So please drop those in as you come up with them. We're here today to provide a brief overview of the packaging industry, and then you'll hear from three PMMI member companies looking to engage with you. So without further ado, we'll move forward. So a little bit about PMMI. We represent over 1,000 member companies, and we're the convening authority supporting the packaging and processing industry. We're predominantly known for our family of trade shows called Pack Expo. So you may have heard of Pack Expo International or Pack Expo Las Vegas. Those are our trade shows. And part of our mission is to help our members find and develop a strong workforce. And this is why we've partnered with the Manufacturing Institute and Heroes Make America. Advance the slide. So a little bit about the packaging industry. So the packaging industry is probably the largest industry you've never thought about, but interact with every single day. If we could advance the slides, I have a little animation there. There we go. So everything that you buy, from soft drinks to shampoos, medication, even the phone that you use, everything you buy is packaged, right? If you could advance. So think about your grocery store for a second. And if you look at the image on the screen, you can see there's a lot of different types of packages. And if you think in terms of your own experiences at the grocery store, you'll notice that a lot of different packages, a lot of different shapes and sizes. Now, to put this in perspective in terms of the size of the industry, the packaging market is valued at was valued at $193 billion, that's with a B, in 2023. In 2024, we're expecting that number to be 200 billion. And in 2029, we're expecting that number to be 244 billion. So it's a huge industry. And if you think about the different segments that I touched on a little bit earlier, whether it's your personal care products or your beverages or your medication, all of these things are necessities. So these are great areas to work in. So if it's something that that you're considering, you should definitely look at these specific vertical markets. At the end of the day, packaging is essential to the global supply chain and has a lot of high paying careers and growth opportunities. So good advance. So when you think about the different products that you buy, a lot of things need to happen to get these products to your shelves. And packaging lines, and there's a couple of small examples on the screen, but packaging lines are made up of a variety of different types of machines that work together in order to take an individual product and then turn that into a package that you would then be able to purchase. And without those machines, you would not be able to accomplish this. So the machinery manufacturers, like the companies that you'll be hearing from a little bit later, need skilled people to help design, build, and maintain these machines. So this is a great opportunity for you as you transition from the military into the civilian workforce. It's a great opportunity for you to get a foot in the door and develop a career. So speaking of careers, here are just a few examples of some of the things that are available, or different types of careers that are available to you in the industry. There are a number of others, but these are just some of the ones that are commonly known, if you will. There are different career options that require different levels of education, and some require degrees while others don't. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The other thing to keep in mind is you may have transferable skills that already align with some of these types of positions. So that's something you can definitely benefit from. And then also the companies you'll hear from next will also talk about and shed some light on the opportunities that they have in their organizations. And as I mentioned, Pack Expo a little bit earlier. One of the things that we do, like I said, is we do our big trade show. This year, it's going to be November 3rd through the 6th in Chicago, Illinois. We would like to invite you to participate or come to the show if you're interested. If you want to register, we offer you a free registration to the show. And when you go to the website, which is packexpo.com, you'll have an opportunity to enter a discount code when you register. Just use the discount code VETERAN and your registration will be comped. So that's something you definitely want to take advantage of if you happen to be in the Chicago area or are interested in learning more about the industry. It's a huge trade show. We expect about 45,000 plus attendees. And it's a great opportunity to see all sorts of different types of machinery, equipment, and really it's the only place where you can see essentially billions of dollars worth of equipment in one location. So it's the biggest packaging trade show in North America. So it's a great opportunity to really learn something about the industry. So we really hope to see you there. And as I mentioned, Kate will be keeping an eye on the chat. So at the end of the presentation, we'll be able to answer questions for you. But in the meantime, if you're also interested in asking questions about trade show or the industry in general, you can definitely drop us a note and we'll be happy to hear from you. And with that, I will turn it back over to Katie.
Awesome. Thanks, Stefan. I'm going to kick it on over to Domino. Nikki, you are up next.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to speak today. Everyone, I am Nikki Johnson. I head up the marketing and product teams at Domino, and I'm here to tell you a bit about it. Kate, if you would move the slide. So who is Domino? Just as was stated before, we serve the companies that we as consumers buy from. And what Domino does is provide equipment for printing date codes, batch codes, labels, and that sort of thing. I'm going to give you a heads up on some slides here coming up. I've included a QR code similar to the one that you just saw that you can scan and get more information. But at the very end, I have all of the links for convenience sake if you missed the opportunity to scan the codes. And also I meant to mention that also on the webinar are some of my colleagues, including some veterans who work for Domino. So back to who is Domino. We manufacture printers, like I said, for these things that that you see here that print codes and alphanumerics and needed information on the products that Stefan talked about. If you could advance the slide, Kate. Domino is a global company. We're based out of the UK. We're actually owned by Brother. You may be familiar with that company. We have approximately 3,000 employees worldwide. Our headquarters, our global headquarters is in Cambridge in the UK. And here locally, if you will advance the slide, our North American sales channel is headquartered just north of Chicago in Gurnee, Illinois. And within the North American channel, and that's who we're representing here today, we have approximately 350 employees, and about 20% of our employee base is veteran, which we are extremely proud of. And I'll talk some more about the roles that we have and things where many veterans work within Domino in a future slide. And Kate, if you can move us forward. So back to what Domino does and our customer base and the types of things that we're involved in. We're selling printers to the likes of Coca-Cola, Kraft Heinz, people who make medicines and medical devices. And we also sell printers to what we call converters. So converters might use our printers to print labels that then get sold to Kraft Heinz or Coca-Cola. So the end result, the printed information that is an outcome of our product ends up on products that we sell to many of the companies that we are familiar with. Kate, if you could advance the slide. So we like to say that we take a product to pallet approach. And what the heck does that mean, especially for this group here? And I like to use the example of ketchup. Everybody, probably everybody has bought a bottle of ketchup before. So in this example, the bottle of ketchup is the product that we buy that's sitting on the shelf at the grocery store. Domino has solutions that might have helped print the label that's on the bottle of ketchup, and then also the date code and batch code that's on the bottle of ketchup. And the store clerk who stocks the shelves would have received that bottle of ketchup in a case. That case also has to be identified because what's in it? So we have solutions that print on the case as well. So when it ends up at the store that we buy the bottle of ketchup, that they know what to do with it, and it has the proper identification. Further, when the distribution center gets it, that case likely comes on a pallet. There has to be identification on the pallet. So the labels that go on those pallets, we have solutions that print and apply those labels. That all of that gets done at the Kraft Heinz plant or any other ketchup manufacturer. As Stefan said, it is required, it's needed, it's essential to supply chain, especially when we talk about medicines. So what we do is pretty critical, and this is where veterans come in. And if you could advance the slide, Kate, we need the talent and the discipline and all of those positive attributes in our organization to help our customers, right? And we employ absolutely all types of roles: sales support, technical support, product management, you name it. And I believe almost every functional area of our business has a military veteran as part of it, almost all of our departments. In my department specifically, I have two. Our technical support group, our engineers and project team, certainly many veterans in those functional areas as well. So I neglected to mention the QR code on the previous slide is going to take you to a video that sort of, it gives way more depth into this product to pallet concept. The QR code here on this slide will take you to the web page that you see here. And there you will be able to see all of our open positions currently. And of course, that is always changing. So that'll be available to you as well in the form of a link in a later slide. And if we can move on, Kate. Okay, so you heard about this thing called Pack Expo. If you have the ability to go there and you're interested in the packaging industry, I highly recommend it. It is mind-blowing. The representation of machines and automation, it's just incredibly impressive. And we can sit here and tell you about it, but until you see it, you don't have appreciation for it. And by merely going and seeing, you will understand the amount of opportunity that is available in this industry. Domino, we recognize this, and it just so happens this year we are putting special effort into honoring our own veterans and those within the manufacturing community, whether that be our peers who manufacture equipment like us or our customers. And this QR code goes to a landing page that is all about our efforts related to this campaign. And you can, on this webpage, you can order a personalized challenge coin, and it's actually etched, printed with one of the printers that we sell. So in this case, it's a laser printer that's making that etch. We will create one just for you if you go and fill out that form that's available on that landing page. And if you come to the show, we can do it right there in front of you. I believe that is the plan. So we will be there and would love to have you. We'll show you around and all of the wonderful things about the packaging industry and Domino. And again, the next slide has, I believe, all that you need to know is as far as how to connect with us. There are folks on here from Domino to answer any questions in the chat. And then I think we end with just a quick video.
Ryan Burrell, 8 years, United States Marine Corps.
Eric Corzine, United States Air Force, 11 years.
Tony Newsom, Pennsylvania Army National Guard, 6 years.
Peter Rose, United States Navy, 5 years active duty.
Perfect. Thank you, Kate.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki. We're going to pass it on over to Dawn with Morse Packaging. Dawn, the floor is yours.
Hi. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for taking their time today. Thank PMMI for having us on, and Heroes Connect, as well as all you military folks that are taking your time out to visit with us today. As Kate D mentioned, I am Dawn Gaddis. I'm with Morse Packaging. I am the HR director, and I have Jenny Eichen on to help us with the chat component. So she is there to answer any of your questions. Next slide, please. Just to give you a little bit of background about us, like Domino mentioned in the printing, and that they give those solutions. Morris Packaging does packaging for plastic bags, which you might see in your grocery store in the form of dog food, treats for your cats or dogs, or maybe frozen chicken in the frozen section. So we do custom bags that we do anywhere from the print process, custom artwork, into the converting of the bags that then go to co-packers and then you see on your shelves with your products. We are very dedicated to eco-friendly solutions in our contents and reducing the environment's impact. I've got a little video that will come up here next to kind of explain a little bit more about what we do and who we are.
Hi, I'm Jim Bob Morris. I'm the founder and the owner of Morse Packaging, located here in Jefferson City, Missouri, as well as in Plymouth, Minnesota. Morse Packaging is a packaging, manufacturing, converting operation. We print, we laminate, we convert into package units for the world in regards to food products, horticultural, pet food products, chemical products, you name it.
We have a full portfolio of products depending on your needs. Anything from standard flat bottoms, stand-up pouches, quad seal bags, to full recycle ready, store drop-off type products.
There's a big push today for sustainability, and that's a lot of the innovation that we're working on today. And that requires new equipment, new machining, new films, new technology, and we're highly focused on that. It's probably the giant growth area for Morris Packaging. We're literally working with every major retailer in the US right now, showing them films, doing trialing, testing. The innovation is really probably the key. We're constantly designing new structures, new formats, new films, materials, and selling new products. And our teams on the floor like that because they love the challenge of having to figure out how to make something work and run.
Our greatest asset out here is not the machines, it's not the printing presses, not the bag lines, it's the people that are operating, it's the people that I'm working with that make us outstanding and differentiate us from the rest of the world and our industry in packaging. I try to make sure everybody understands that I want you to work with me. I want you to treat this entity or whatever entity it might be that it's your entity. And I'm very proud of the fact that our people, our team members that work with me take a lot of pride in what we're doing.
So at Morris, we value employees as a whole person. Not just the portion of them that comes to work every day, but we know they have families outside of work, and they're working to live, not living to work.
We wanted people, this was your last stop, this is your last job, this is your last team. We want you to work with us for your entire career, and that's my mindset. Our people differentiate, and I can tell you, our customers that walk through here 100% agree with that. You come to this operation or other operations, you're doing business with Morse Packaging, and you're doing business with this team, and this team is dedicated and prideful of the work that they do for you.
So a little bit about some of the openings that we currently have. Open is listed here. This is just a small piece of them, and of course they're ever changing, but we definitely are always in need for operators, whether it be on our converting lines or press machines, slitters, sales technicians, supervisors, leaders, and we're always looking for this transferable skills to come in and help us in any of these positions. We also have on site training that we work through as far as programs. So if there's not skills there, we're willing to teach and train as we go through. Next slide. This is just a list of a little bit of some of our benefits. I won't spend time going through each one of the items here, but compared to for our size of company, we have a very diverse and large amount of benefits that we offer. We're always looking to add additional benefits for our team members, as well as some additions like these are available the first day of hire. Next slide. What's very important, I think, is our founder, Jim Morris, mentioned on that video. Our culture is very important to us, and there's some guiding values that are important. So when we talk about those transferable skills, I think what's more important to us when we bring somebody on, and from you folks out there in the military, is things like collaborating and being supportive team members, focusing on continuous improvement, how you treat people with the dignity and respect. Those are the things that are important. We can work on learning how to run the machines. Next slide. Okay, and on this slide here, you'll see our QR code, that will take you directly to our jobs to give you more information. My information is here. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions, concerns. Me and my team will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And as mentioned with the PAC Expo, if you can make it, it is a great place to see the environment and manufacturing, and come stop by and see us at our booth. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dawn. I'm going to kick it on over to Michaela with Rockwell Automation.
Perfect. Thank you. And hello, everyone. I'm Michaela Kaufmann. I'm a global business manager within our business units. And today I actually wanted to introduce, aside from jobs, what we of course also have available in Rockwell Automation, our Academy of Advanced Manufacturing. And I will make it a little short because I also have a very special guest with me on the call today to share his own experience. So maybe kicking it off on the next slide, I will give you just a very rough overview who is actually Rockwell Automation. We are a roughly 9 billion company, a global company with, of course, main footprint, as you can see here in North America, focusing on industrial automation. So what does that mean? As some you saw before from the packaging industry, for example, we are really supplying the automation equipment for machine builders, system integrators, but also work with end users in a variety of different industries, from oil and gas, automotive, life sciences, food and beverage, of course, as we discussed, CPG. So we're really across a lot of different industries with our offering, and we are out there for roughly 120 years now. What we are actually focusing on, if you go to the next slide, is, as you saw before, those different machine parts, whether it's a packaging machine, end-of-line packaging machine, that's of course where we provide equipment, as I mentioned, but then also really the whole line. So you see a little bit in that background, a picture of how does the manufacturing floor looks like. So we provide equipment, whether it's, drives, motors, sensors, but also all the way up to manufacturing execution systems, distributed control system, CMMS system, computerized maintenance system, maintenance management system, assets performance, but also all the way up to IT as well, to see how can we help with cybersecurity consulting. So it's very broad, that offering from hardware, but also software side. And what I wanted to highlight today, and I really want to spend more time about, is what we are also trying to do for veterans. So on the next slide, I really would like to introduce you our Academy for Advanced Manufacturing. And this was really initiated even from our CEO, Blake Moret, back in 2017, to see how can we help actually veterans who are coming back to get into the workforce. But to be honest, it also goes beyond, because it's not only helping veterans, it's also helping actually our customers. Because we do see overall, and I'm sure Manufacturing Institute also recognizes that too, that there is a little bit of decrease into skilled labor, skilled workforce in manufacturing. So looking at those two trends, how can we actually benefit from that, right? And help each other out. And this is really what the Academy is for. So if we go on the next slide, you see a little bit the framework. Thank you. So it is the 12 weeks program that we're offering, where we teach you everything from industrial automation, controllers, networks, drive motors, as I mentioned, but also visualization, software, instrumentation, and then also electrical and plant forest safety. So really everything what you would need in order to maybe work for a machine builder or work for an end user. But also in addition to that, help also with professional work skills. So you have, for example, a coach aside from you. You also learn, hey, how presentation skills, things like that. And this program is really meant to prepare you for your next step in the career as well. So on the next slide, you see a little bit more details how we're actually going about it. And as I mentioned, so we work together actually with Manpower Group, and we recruit together. We take a look, what is your background as veteran? What have you done before? We really do the screening, of course, on your technical skills, but also your soft skills today, and see, hey, does that program match? Because again, 12 weeks, yes, it sounds like a long time, but if you don't have any electrical background, for example, or any of it, it will be a little bit a big jump, right? So we really want to set you up for success at the end, of course, as well. So while we're going through that evaluation with you, as I mentioned, we offer, once you're approved, of course, that training, but also offer to make that connection with those end users or also machine builders, like our customers at the end, to see how they can hire you. During that time, you get, of course, the training for free at no cost. You also get housing from us, you get meals, and you also get a salary, even though I admit it's definitely a little bit on the smaller side. So it's $600 per week, but nonetheless, just to support you. And keep in mind, you get the rest for free. And we also connect you actually with some of our customers. So I think on the next slide, I actually provide a few examples. Yeah, there we go. Where some of our veterans actually have been already placed. We did that program, as I mentioned, since 2017. So yeah, thank you. Maybe quickly stop there. So we're always connecting with our customers to see, okay, where do they have the gap? And then the veterans, what we have today in the program, we're running those programs 3 times a year. And here you can see just a few examples where we already placed over 500 veterans so far. So a wide variety, as I mentioned before, from automotive, food and beverage, but also life sciences, what you see. So I'm sure there are a bunch of names you probably recognize. And on the next slide, you also see a little bit what are the roles they're graduating in at the end, or you hopefully will graduate into, which can be advanced electrical specialist, but also mechanical technician. I think I saw a bunch of technician roles, which people were looking for in the chat as well on the manufacturing side, but also field service technician and others. If we go on the next slide, on the next slide, I just briefly will touch on it. This is really how we are going about the program. So again, we also want to make sure you have that engagement, and this one really is for you. So you will have in week 4 discovery days, meaning you're meeting potential employers and you get a little bit of understanding what is actually their business, what are they doing, who they are, and then you identify who are the employers I actually would love to work with. And then you provide, of course, your resume and everything, and then have your interviews with those employers. And then, of course, the selection at the end of the week. But this is how we go about it to really make sure you get also the best benefit out of it. And we, of course, want to ensure that you get the skills, but we also promise to our customers. So on the next slide, on the next slide, I just want to highlight, it's not only those 12 weeks program, you actually get more even beyond. So we don't just release you out of the program, say, hey, you graduated, you have your employer, you're all set to go. We actually also stay in touch, and you do get, for example, access to our Learning Plus. So this is really a platform where you can get, whether it's technical training and on some on our HMI offerings or others, for 1 year at no charge. And also from the Manpower Group, because again, it's a partnership we created. You also get, they call it Power U courses for 1 year at no charge. And that's also technical, but soft skills courses. And in addition, 4 coaching sessions with one of their professional coaches for a year, also at no charge. So really to make sure you're really set up for success, and we accompany you along that way. On the next slide, I provided a few examples that here I actually would want to pause and highlight Adriel Simas, who is also on the call. He was one of the veterans who went through that program. I believe, Adriel, when was it? 3 years ago, 4 years? Time is flying.
It's gonna be 4 years now.
There we go. So maybe you can share a bit about your experience and how it helped you.
Sure. So hi everybody. My name is Adriel Simas. I also went to the AM program. I was living in Gainesville, Florida, and I was contacted by a manpower recruiter at the time, who interviewed me and explained the program to me. I had to do a test online and then do somewhat a pre-interview to enter the program. And after I was admitted, I moved here to Milwaukee. I stayed here for the 12 weeks of the program until I got hired. The company that ended up hiring me was also from Milwaukee, so I stayed here. But it's a 12-month program, as Michaela explained. Manpower takes care of the soft skills, while Rockwell takes care of the technical skills for the candidates. I learned everything from troubleshooting to installing to programming Rockwell's equipment and using their software. And I interviewed with, I want to say about 10 companies at the end until I got hired. I got hired. The name of the company that hired me is Brady Corporation. And I got hired as a maintenance controls technician. I'm no longer with Brady now. I work for Cargill as an automation tech. But that's how I got started into the controls or automation world, and I have continued learning into and advancing into mechatronics and robotics. But Rocco is the one that opened the door for me, so I'm very thankful for this program. And yeah, it changed my whole life. I moved from Florida to to Milwaukee and changed my career. So yeah.
Thank you, Adriel. And that's really a great success story as well. And just, sharing with the team. I'm pretty sure if there are people who have questions, right, we have a Q&A later, but also can reach out to you, probably, Adriel, right, to get a, firsthand experience as well. I think the last slide, thank you, I wanted to leave you with was just to give you some statistics, because as I mentioned, we're doing it since 2017, and Adriel was one of the great examples we had. Overall, we had over 530 veterans already attending. The average salary, and again, it's always a range, right? It depends really on the role, what you end up afterwards, but the tracking what we received is 73K people make afterwards. And as I mentioned, we completed 28 cohorts. What I like is the diversity and the retention rate, what you see here. So 91% are really with the company still after, or as Adriel mentioned, he was for a while, but then also found actually a place in another company, which is great as well to pursue his career.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you're interested, you get those slides. There is that link where I say click here on the very bottom. This will lead you directly to the Manpower website, which is tied back to that academy. So there you can start having those discussions since they start doing the pre-screening. If you're interested in attending the academy. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome, thank you. Hold on, let me bring everyone back up. All right, so we are to the Q&A portion of the event today. So give me just a second. I'm going to bring up all of our speakers to include myself. And now what I want to do is get into your questions. All right, so start to drop them in the chat. I'll come back. I'll read through them and ask these folks the questions. But let me go ahead and spotlight everyone. Where'd Stefan go? There you are. I think I got everyone. Tom, Nikki. Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, this was absolutely wonderful. I love just the flow of how this all has gone. You know, Stefan giving the big picture of the packaging industry, Domino, Nikki, you talking about the labeling. Who even thinks about the code on the packages that we buy, right? And how crucial that is in everything that we do. To then the packages that Morris Packaging puts together, and then all the automation that Rockwell brings to the process to make us more efficient and improve, you know, the processing that goes into all these different machines that these companies use. So phenomenal explanation, I think, of the industry, and an industry that we all relate to. You know, we buy these products every single day, and they're around our you know, in our world all around us. Okay, let's see. From the beginning, I want to double check on some locations. We always get location questions in the chat because, you know, we're all relocating to certain areas. Just to review, Nikki, Domino, what is the primary location or locations for Domino?
So in North America, we're headquartered just north of Chicago. However, our customer base is throughout all of North America. So there are many field roles that are certainly veteran centric. Like I think our HR manager, HR VP put in the chat. We are blessed with interest in Domino from veterans through service tech type of roles. And that's how many of them come about, and they are everywhere, all across US and Canada. So, and they're available quite often. So, and we're a remote organization. So even if you're more in of a sales or support type of skill set, we work remotely. So anything sort of goes in the way of location.
Wonderful to hear, because, you know, service members go everywhere. So know that there's opportunities all over the place. Don, I'm going to kick it on over to you for Morris. If you can remind us your location.
Sure. Our physical locations with actual manufacturing facilities are Plymouth, Minnesota, and Jefferson City, Missouri. We also have a corporate headquarters in Bloomington, Illinois. And then, as Nikki mentioned, we are also a remote organization. So there is always some of those technical skills or sales skills that can be utilized from pretty much anywhere. And yes, so.
Perfect. And then, Michaela, I know yours is probably a trick question because you're probably everywhere also, but if you can give your locations.
Yeah, that is very true. We are definitely globally. I mean, I did share, I think Jake was asking in the chat as well, like our LinkedIn page where you also see where are we actually offering the jobs. Our headquarters is still in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's when Adriel also alluded to with the program. And maybe I should have mentioned that takes place in Milwaukee. So those 12 weeks will need to be there. But then again, that academy is basically not for us. It's more for also the customers. So you can be anywhere at the end, right? Because it's then really up to the veteran, the connections you made with the other employers to just see, okay, where does it actually fit for you? So while of course I'm still encouraging to apply also with Rockwell Automation, I just wanted to differentiate those two.
Perfect, thank you. And then Stefan, I'm going to kick it back to you to wrap it up. So remind us, PMMI is the association. How many member companies and how, you know, these are only 3 of the members that are part of PMMI. How do they find these other companies and what kind of locations are we looking at?
So we have over 1,000 member companies throughout the US, Canada, and Mexico. The majority of them are in the US and in Canada. And as far as trying to identify where these companies are, if you go to PMMI.org, there is a tab there. You'll see ProSource. That's our member directory. And you can look up members by the type of machines they make or even the type of products or packaging that they have. But that's a good source to identify specific companies. And also, I provided Kate's email address and my email address. If you are in a certain area and you're interested to see if we have any members in those areas, please contact us. We're happy to try to put you in contact with members if that's your, as your home base. We're happy to do that. And as was previously mentioned, depending on the role, there are a lot of organizations, especially for field service, where the companies are willing to have people pretty much all over the country. It's to their advantage to do that. Obviously, from a travel standpoint, everyone does not have to fly from one location to everywhere, so that can help them as well. But that's where I would start. And like I said, Kate and I can be resources for you as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And like I said, this is a wonderful just snippet of the industry and the different components and all of the different companies that fit into it. So there's a huge amount of companies that are available to you all to look at if this is the segment of the industry that you are interested in. I want to dive a little into types of positions. So oftentimes when we hear from our military, we've got our military background, but we don't quite understand where we fit in the industry, right? And I think on the slide, we saw a couple of things like customer sales, reps, program product management, or project and product management. I think those can tie really well to a lot of different types of backgrounds, as well as I've got some other ones that I want to follow up questions on. But in your companies, what does that look like in terms of roles and responsibilities for someone who's managing customers or projects? Can you talk a little bit about those types of positions? Like what do they do? What are the roles and responsibilities? What is the title in your company? Nikki, you want to start that?
Sure. From a day-to-day perspective, we're looking to take care of customers. So I think Dawn put it best. You said there are a lot of skills that can be taught. And what's probably most important is just the attitude. And it's been our experience at Domino that what you come away with from the military, being in the military, that sort of level of respect and getting the job done is very suitable and very valuable to companies like Domino. And it's maybe less about the skill set. I mean, of course, there's got to be somewhat of a matchup, right? And in our case, like I mentioned, most of our veterans come to us through technical roles. So because of the background. But as I mentioned, within the marketing and product teams, I have two veterans. One is a product manager, and Eric is in the audience here. And then Tony is another person who works with my team, and he's a sales and marketing campaign manager, and he came from our sales department. So I think that there's got to be that desire. What do you want to do? And what's right for what's available. And it's worth reaching out individually. It would be difficult here to address every single person's needs, but certainly reach out to us, and I'm happy to have a conversation about any of our roles and your fit at Domino.
Thank you, Nikki, for that. Dawn, did you want to expand?
On our side, as far as that customer facing roles, would be a customer account manager, which we actually have open positions for right now, and that would handle your customers kind of A to Z. Like Nikki mentioned, it just depends on the skill set of the individual, and there's plenty of opportunities in our organization as well as across the manufacturing fields.
Thank you. And then Michaela, you want to talk about Rockwell?
Yeah, I just can add to it. And in terms of that academy, I mentioned this is really where we also do a little bit of assessment, because since we're very heavily focused on the technical journey to help you, ideally we're looking for candidates who had, when you're in the military, for example, any mechanics or electrical, something like that always helps. If not, of course, we have those discussions to just see, okay, how can we actually bridge that gap? And I think that was also some of the questions in the chat too. When it comes to overall, and I just can echo what Nikki and Dawn were saying, like in my team, for example, in product management, I actually also have a veteran, and he came into Rockwell after he was done with the military, actually through an internship. And then just made his way up through that. He has, I think, after the internship, he did a bachelor as well, but it really is about making a connection, seeing how you as person fit. Is that actually something which also interests you? And I'm always a firm believer, like if you want to, you always can learn anything, right? And then grow from there.
That is all wonderful pieces of advice. So I think that answers, I was getting at one of the questions that says, what advice do you have for someone who's jack of all trades, master of none? I think it's just figuring out what is that interest area. But then part of the puzzle is talking with wonderful people like you all to help identify, what that is in different companies. So hopefully that answered that question. And then also, we usually have a lot of folks with supply chain experience. And so of course we're focusing on, making the products, but after they're made, someone's got to move them somewhere, right? Can you all talk a little bit about logistics and supply chain positions, whether it's procurement side or and going out to the customers? Can you talk a little bit about what logistics looks like in your company and types of positions they might look for?
Trying to think of the best way to answer this on behalf of Domino. Our products, our printers, our machines are made in different parts of the world. So while we certainly have a heavy logistics effort because of that, I think within North America, we would be shipping typically from that Gurnee, Illinois area. And certainly opportunities for employment within that, but maybe more limited, I'd say, than maybe some of the others who are manufacturing, like Dawn, and again, Michaela may be more so in the same boat I am with the distribution of product because of the way you sell within Rockwell Automation. But probably a little bit more limited. But what's interesting is Domino plays a critical role in these things because of what I described what we do. So the customers that we serve absolutely have lots of need under that umbrella.
Awesome, Nikki. It's a great way to explain it, right? A business to business approach versus a business who's selling directly to a customer.
Correct.
Don, you want to talk a little bit about Morris and logistics?
Sure. As far as the positions for us in logistics, we have product, of course, moving in, raw materials that are moving in on a regular basis, and then finished products that are moving out. So our logistics positions can go anywhere from somebody that is in our local warehouses at our plants, forklift driving at one of our offsite warehouses, moving material from our plants to a warehouse, as well as just managing the whole behind the scenes of those logistics and shipping and making sure that these get to the right customers.
Yeah, and I think the only thing, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, I mean, as Nikki said, yes, we're B2B, also business to business. And certainly, I think we're finally back on track, right? The supply chain challenges we had, that was tough. So if you're interested in supply chain, it's very interesting, but it's also very complex, right? Whether it's also Nikki and Don alluded to, like whether it's material, right, or chips, right? I mean, that definitely was a big struggle we had, or cables for a while too, right? Where it's like, it seems like such, basic material challenges sometimes we had to work through, but they have a bigger impact because often, and I'm sure it's the same also from the machine builders on the call, right? Often it's not only this one component, because it's one component which is needed for that whole machine though, right? And just getting that understanding, that complexity, what's actually part of that supply chain, I think that's actually a really nice challenge how you can grow over time. So in terms of positions, of course, they're commodity managers. So we have it in Rockwell, buyers, right, where you start having your little portfolio. But I think it's very interesting once you start understanding how is everything actually connected, and then maybe not only being the face to the vendors or suppliers, but then also understanding the customer aspect to it and what is my impact. So there are definitely a lot of roles, and it's a very dynamic field for sure. Supply chain always will be relevant, I think, and especially after COVID pandemic.
Definitely. And then Stefan, if you ever want to jump in, you just let me know, but I won't call on you unless I see
No,
it.
that's fine. Yeah. Now, the other thing I would add is, I mean, you've heard three different viewpoints on supply chain issues, and that's three companies. So, every company is a little bit different. Companies of different sizes, different markets. Some of them are machine builders. Others have components like Rockwell or services like Rockwell. So everyone's going to be a little bit different. So it's really about researching whichever company you're interested in and finding out just what type of what type of roles they have, obviously, but then also the type of machines they make, and that should help maybe steer you a little bit. So, but typically, the larger the organization, the greater need there is for logistics and logistics department, if you will. So.
So thank you. I can't believe the time already. We only have a few minutes. So I'm going to, there's quite a few questions when it comes to Rockwell and the training program and all of that. My biggest piece of advice is either, go to the links that have been dropped in the chat, connect with Michaela. I think go to the website for the program. That will answer a lot of it. But I do want to ask one of the questions that's last in the chat about continuous education. So this field is ever growing, right? We talk about automation. What you did 10 years ago looks so different than what that looks like now. And then just the machines, how they change over time. Do all of your companies invest in continuous education for your employees? If so, what does that look like?
Yeah, maybe I kick it off briefly. So we definitely do. So there are various programs. We have, of course, tuition support as well. So depending if you wanted to do a bachelor or a master, there are certain levels how Rockwell is supporting you as well from a financial standpoint, but then also for vacation days, since if it's part-time, of course, you don't want to use up all your vacation with only studying. You might still want to have that work-life balance. But then we also offer, for example, Udemy. I'm not sure how familiar people are with that, but it's also a really great platform where you can learn a lot, also soft skills or management skills, etc., depending on what you're looking for, which is available to all employees for free. You can sign up for any course there. And then, of course, depending also on levels, if you're getting into management, we have different leadership development programs as well, where you also can participate. So we're definitely a very firm believer in continuous learning, for sure.
I believe our HR representative answered this question in the chat. He mentioned, of course, we have here at Domino's tuition reimbursement. We offer a number of different learning opportunities on different topics related to your specific job or even outside of your job. And one thing that I'll mention on behalf of PMMI, they too have many resources for learning about the industry, packaging in general, machines, that even our employee base takes advantage of. So there's some really great benefits available to folks through PMMI as well.
And at Morse, we do strongly believe in continuous education. Our programs currently, with the size of our company, are more internal programs. We have a large learning library, leadership learning paths, machine certification learning paths that folks can go on. And we do some reimbursement for continuous education and some of your professional certifications and the such. We do not currently have an employee reimbursement program, but it is something that we're always entertaining to give those additional benefits to those folks.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to ask my team if you can redrop in all these wonderful folks' contact information to the chat. So Renee or Rachel, if you don't mind just redropping in these point of contacts, because I think there's a lot of questions that are going unanswered today because we're already out of time. And I know that there's plenty of follow-up that needs to happen. I am pleased to hear, everything and all these questions and the interest in this industry. I think it's a wonderful fit for a lot of our veterans on this call. Before I close it out, though, I want to afford the opportunity to any of our presenters. Any last things you want to mention to this group or words of wisdom before we wrap up today?
I would say this, know that your experience from what you've done in the past is extremely valuable. And I just don't know that it's said or understood, but for us, it's a game changer. It helps us be who we are in the eyes of our customers. So thank you for listening to us, and know that you've got a spot, and you're a very, very valuable commodity.
I'd like to echo that. I know we have a lot of members all over the U.S. that are interested in hiring people just like you. It's just about making those connections. So we want to try to help you do that. And as Nikki mentioned, please do know that you are a very valuable commodity in this industry for sure. So.
Same. I think really great remarks. The only last thing I would say is don't hesitate, reach out. It's always connection helps, right? Just talking with people, understanding, making the first connection, and this really will also bring you forward. So never be afraid to.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead into our last slide. So thank you to our presenters. So much great information, like I mentioned. This is a wonderful event. Thank you for spending this hour with us. And then thank you to all of our participants who are here today learning about this industry. You did see a poll pop up on your screen. If you don't mind taking a second to answer those 3 questions before you head on out. But like I said, we redropped everyone's contact information into the chat. I encourage you to connect with these folks, continue that conversation. Even if you're not quite applying yet, this is where networking starts and your research in these companies starts. So make sure that you do reach out to them. And like I said, continue that part of the conversation. Go on their websites, explore the links that we provided. Look on their websites, look at the videos that we provided, connect with them on LinkedIn, follow their company pages. Follow Heroes Make America while you're on there. And then, like I said, connect with our team or their teams for more information. So thank you all for joining today. I hope you come back next week. We do have a bottle manufacturer who probably uses this packaging material from all these companies, Niagara Bottling. They will be here next week, Wednesday, August 14th at 3 p.m. Until then, we'll see you next time. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.